Bonjour à tous, welcome back to Lingoni. It's a pleasure to teach you again today. The topic of the day will be asking questions, and I would like to teach you a very useful fixed expression that you will be able to use to ask questions. The fixed expression is est-ce que. Est-ce que, in 3 words, est-ce que, pronounced est-ce que. So there is an hyphen between est and ce, well, between est and ce, because they really work together. So, est-ce que? That is the structure that shows that you are asking a question in French. What follows is very easy, because to make you understand how you can use it, I will give you short sentences in affirmative mode, and then we will see how to switch in interrogative form, and you will see that not much changes, except the fact that you will add est-ce que at the beginning of the sentence, and of course you will change a little bit your intonation and add a question mark, right? So the examples I had as question were, for example, il aime le sport, or il aime le cinéma. Question, est-ce qu'il aime le sport? Est-ce qu'il aime le cinéma? Nothing has changed. In the structure, of the sentence, like the full sentence is the same. Il aime le sport, or il aime le cinéma. We keep that exactly the same. There is no change to make between subject and verb, or anything in the structure in general. But you add est-ce que at the beginning and a question mark. Or when you speak, of course, your intonation will change a little bit, but that's something we do naturally. So, il aime le sport. Est-ce qu'il aime le sport? That's it. You're asking a question. That's something you will use when you speak, and that's something that you will see quite commonly written as well. So it's an easy and useful expression to ask a question. Another example. Tu bois du café. Affirmative. Question. Est-ce que tu bois du café? That's it. Vous aimez voyager. Or, tu aimes voyager. Question. Est-ce que vous aimez voyager? Est-ce que tu aimes voyager? I use my fixed structure that never changes, as you can see. That's why it's fixed. I mean, it doesn't matter if then what follows in the sentence is je, tu, elle, Marc, whoever. Doesn't really matter. Est-ce que is fixed. That's how I ask a question. And then I can just keep going with the full sentence. And that's it. That's it. You don't have to worry about this fixed expression. By definition, it won't change. Another example. Vous parlez français? Or, in plural, il parle français? Please note that the pronunciation in plural is exactly the same as the pronunciation in singular. Il parle français? Est-ce qu'il parle français? Or with vous? Yeah, I also put it with vous. Est-ce que vous parlez français? Tu étudies le soir. Now I'm asking you. Est-ce que tu étudies le soir? And we could do that with many of things. Manger, elle mange beaucoup. Est-ce qu'elle mange beaucoup? Vous regardez la télévision. Est-ce que vous regardez la télévision? That's it. So now you know how to ask a question in French. 2 more things. When you think, okay, I can't remember the structure to ask a question, remember that, especially when you speak, of course, your intonation plays a very important role. All the sentences I've given you now with est-ce que would be perfectly fine and correct in informal, of course, conversation, if you would just change your intonation. You keep the sentence exactly the same. Il aime bien le sport. Il aime bien le sport? Exactly the same sentence. Change in the intonation, question mark, and I'm asking a question. In an informal way, but still, you're correct. French people do it, and you will be understood if you do that. It's good to know. It's good to know that sometimes you think, I'm very limited. I hardly know how to speak in affirmative form, so imagine if I have to ask a question. It's fine. It's fine. Just think about what you can do also with, with the intonation, because I think it plays a very important role. So remember that. And it would work with all of them. Vous parlez français? If I take the question mark, then it's just vous parlez français. That's it. And that's a question, and that's fine. And now, because we've started, est-ce que is the structure I really wanted you to understand, or no? You don't have to understand anything. I will not translate to you what is est-ce que. It doesn't make sense. It's a fixed expression. I've been asked that, like, but what does that mean exactly? Nothing. It's a fixed expression. We use it to ask a question. Est-ce que, if I start to translate, I will just confuse you. It makes no sense. So this is an expression we use a lot to ask a question, written and spoken. The other way would be, I have no idea how to do it, so I will just change my intonation. Speaking, you can do that. It's perfectly fine. We do it too. Informal, but correct. More formal, if you want to, or if you have to be a little bit more formal, of course, there is a way to ask a question in a more formal way. What you would have to do is to change the subject and the verb order. Tu bois du café? Affirmative. Bois-tu du café? Tu bois? Bois-tu? Bois-tu du café? Vous travaillez le samedi. Travaillez-vous le samedi? Ils aiment le football. Aiment-ils le football? That's it. Not much more to it. That's the 3 ways you can ask a question in French. Let's say gradually from quite informal, then langage courant, which is not informal. It's just a common way of expressing yourself. And then the most formal way, which would be, I just changed the subject and the verb. That's what you see written a lot. That's the way you would talk to someone in a shop, for example, maybe someone who speaks to you in a more formal way, in a restaurant, at the hairdresser, or something like that. Here, that would get a little bit more formal, and also the fixed expression like comment allez-vous? Comment allez-vous is very normal to ask it this way in a bit of a formal way. And as you can see, we naturally do the allez-vous and not comment vous allez. But that would work. Comment vous allez? So I hope that could help. Now, some kind of question you will be able to ask, because not all the questions can actually start with est-ce que. Yes, that's the trick of it. Not all the questions work with est-ce que. Sometimes they start with something else. We will see that slowly but surely. At least you can make some question with est-ce que. You can use your verb du premier groupe, of the first group, without any problem. You have your vocabulary and you know how to make short sentences in affirmative form. So now you also know how to ask question with this same vocab and structure. I hope that was useful, and I see you very soon for a new lesson. À bientôt. Au revoir.